in the case of Amanda Stevenson. A Victoria woman suffers injuries after a rollover in Refugio County. And a judge's ruling on razor wire at the border goes against Texas.
The rain we had today was not very heavy. In fact, if you ask the folks about it in Houston, they go, well, we had enough, thank you. They had about 6 inches. So we missed all the severe weather. However, there's a frontal system coming down, and that may trigger a little bit more shower activity tomorrow, and that's Friday. And we'll be talking more about that coming up.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia is off tonight. New at 10, a state district court judge in Austin has ruled DPS must release records from the Uvalde school shooting. KSAT reports more than a dozen media organizations filed a lawsuit last year asking a judge to order DPS to release records regarding the law enforcement response to the massacre at Robb Elementary School. DPS must disclose the records within 20 days. DPS also has until December 28th to file an appeal on the ruling and has previously indicated it will do so. New at 10, Caitlin Armstrong gave notice of an appeal Thursday after she was sentenced to 90 years for the murder of pro cyclist Mariah Mo Wilson. Armstrong was found guilty on November 16th in Austin and received her sentence a day later. Police issued an arrest warrant for Armstrong on May 17th, 2022, 6 days after she shot and killed Wilson at an East Austin apartment. An autopsy report is pending in the case of Amanda Stevenson. 25 News Now has learned the man who took his own life during a traffic stop last Wednesday, 45-year-old Kevin Bennetson, worked in the Victoria ISD off and on from February 2012 to March of 2022. Amanda Stevenson was reported missing November 21st. Police found a body Tuesday and they believe it to be that of Amanda Stevenson. A candlelight vigil is planned for this Sunday from 6 to 7 p.m. at Patriot Park. The public is invited to attend. Funeral arrangements are pending at this time. A Victoria woman was transported to a hospital after a 2018 Jeep rolled over on U.S. Highway 77 in Refugio County. The Goliad Advance Guard reports 45-year-old Shannon Perry was driving the Jeep when it lost control and rolled in the northbound lane and rested on the left shoulder near the State Highway 239 overpass. DPS says a passenger in the vehicle was injured and that both were wearing seat belts. The accident is being investigated by DPS. One of our viewers is concerned about some streets on the south side of Victoria. We checked on the area in question and this is what we found. This is Pleasant Green Drive from Port Lavaca Highway to Juan Lynn and the Loop. We reviewed some photos too and saw huge potholes. The resident says they have filed reports with the city. We reached out to the city of Victoria and we're waiting for a response. Here's your viewer poll this evening. You can participate. Just scan that QR code on your screen. Here's the question. Are you concerned about road conditions in your neighborhood? Yes or no? Let's look at the numbers. 70% of the voters say yes, 30% say no. We thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote. Texas homeowner insurance rates have increased 22% on average so far this year. That's twice the national rate. The Texas Tribune reports more billion-dollar disasters have occurred in Texas this year than on any other year on record. There have already been 16 disasters in Texas this year that cost $1 billion or more, and that's during a year when no hurricanes struck the Texas coast. Almost all of those weather disasters were severe storms. And let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. Now, Mac, you had forecast this coming into Victoria today could have been a severe storm. Why was it not severe? And we're happy about that part, believe me.
Well, yes, we didn't want the severe weather, but what happened is that the warm air came up first and the cold air sort of slowed down, so they didn't have this big collision that would have caused all this lifting and caused the severe weather. We only got about a quarter of an inch. I was looking for a half an inch to maybe an inch, but we didn't get it. Where did they get it? They got it all in Houston. Ship Channel had about 5 inches of rain. Right now, Lake Charles is getting a heavy downpour, but we missed the bad stuff. Now, tomorrow there's a few more showers, and we'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. A federal judge has rejected Texas' request for a preliminary injunction to prevent authorities from removing razor wire from the southern border. The wire was installed along the banks of the Rio Grande on the order of Governor Greg Abbott to prevent migrants from crossing into the state. Customs and Border Protection wanted the wire removed, arguing it posed a humanitarian and national security risk by forcing agents to deal with the medical needs caused by the wire. Attorney General Ken Paxton has appealed the ruling. Criminal organizations are exploiting new ways to smuggle migrants into El Paso. Instead of climbing the border wall or looking for weak spots along the border, a growing number of people are using storm drains to sneak further into the U.S. from Mexico.
They just open it up and they just tell them to walk, let them in. Sometimes they don't even have a guide with them, and they just kind of tell them where to go, and they're pretty much on their own.
Efrain Mercado has been with Border Patrol for 16 years. As a member of the Confined Space Entry Team for 11 years, he says he's seen the worst of what happens when people risk everything to cross the border.
Storm drains, they take these toy guns and they spray them completely black. This is probably a toy gun.
We've had a couple of people die in there, a lot of children. You know, people will do anything to get through, and the smugglers, they don't care about the life of the person.
Border Patrol says the city's drain system is like a maze. There are numerous entrances and exits, and while agents know where they are, they can't always get to them all.
We don't know about it, or we haven't checked it, and then we find out about it, and then they switch tactics. So they're really smart. They know what they're doing.
Mercado's referring to smugglers. He says they use everything they can to exploit the system. Criminal organizations use items such as crowbars, hammers, everything they can get their hands on to create space in the tunnel to smuggle migrants.
Coming up.
A lot of things that stick out and scratch you up, and it's pretty nasty in there sometimes.
Border Patrol advises of the dangers of entering confined spaces like this one because they are complete in darkness, and you can run into a hole like this one that can lead to several injuries.
And we've seen a lot of broken legs, a lot of injuries to the feet and head, and some of these areas are corrugated. They're not made out of cement.
This is how they kind of make them keep walking or shut up, or like people who don't want to continue. This is what the things they use.
Border Patrol says the storm drains can become dangerous due to the air quality and the flash floods that forms after heavy rain. But smugglers and migrants aren't fazed by the potential dangers as they're so close to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Said what really pulls at the heartstrings is those children, you know. A lot of these are families, and they're just trying to make it through like everybody else.
Paxton is also suing Pfizer, saying the company misrepresented the effectiveness of its COVID-19 vaccine. Paxton says it was misleading for Pfizer to claim its vaccine was 95% effective and to give the impression that its vaccine would end the pandemic. It also asks for $10 million in fines for violating a Texas law protecting consumers from deceptive marketing. Pfizer said its statements about its vaccine had been, quote, accurate and science-based, unquote. A federal appeals court is deciding whether or not booksellers will have to rate every book in school libraries in Texas based on their sexual content.
A controversial Texas law is now before one of the most conservative appeals courts in the country. Known as the Reader Act, that measure will require every vendor who sells any books to schools to rate their books based on sexual content, much like how movies and video games are rated. Austin bookseller Book People is one of the plaintiffs.
Is there any reality you see where you wouldn't just end up having to rate pretty much every book in your bookstore, imagining that a teacher could buy it for a classroom?
That is not physically possible. There's no way that I could pay booksellers to read and rate every book that's available to schools and us stay in business.
In a Louisiana circuit court this morning, federal judges noted that the state does have the authority to regulate explicit content in the hands of children.
We are not disputing the state's ability to regulate curriculum or obscene speech.
So they can constitutionally restrict sexually explicit material in school libraries.
Republican State Representative Jared Patterson, who authored the bill in the Texas legislature, called the Reader Act model legislation in a statement on social media, going on to say the legal pushback flies in the face of past Supreme Court precedent.
Does something like that translate to actual concern or even just interest in voters?
No, I mean, ultimately, I don't think this was an issue that was a big issue before it kind of became mobilized by politicians, because it was a successful issue.
The law does carve out exceptions for books included as part of a curriculum in schools, but vendors have said it places an undue burden on their part.
A decision from the appeals court could take weeks or even months. If the court rules it can take effect, vendors would need to rate those books by April for the next school year. Bills edge rusher Von Miller is free on bond after police say his pregnant girlfriend accused him of pushing her and putting his hands on her neck during an argument at their Dallas home. KXAS reports Dallas police responded to reports of a disturbance at the home around 11 Wednesday morning. Miller surrendered to police Thursday afternoon and was freed after posting a $5,000 bond. A former A&M star, Miller is a two-time Super Bowl champion with the Broncos and Rams. Israel has released another group of Palestinian prisoners hours after Hamas freed more Israeli hostages under a last-minute agreement to extend their ceasefire by another day in Gaza. The truce has allowed badly needed supplies of fuel and cooking gas to be sent into Gaza.
This is the last section of the Rafah crossing on the Egyptian side into Gaza. This is the only border entry point and exit that is not controlled by Israel. A lot of trucks are making this journey here. On our way in, we saw several miles of trucks filled with aid waiting to get to this point. One driver tells us he has been waiting for 9 days just to get this point. After they cross over from Egypt into Gaza, they have to go to Nitzana, where Israeli officials verify what's in these trucks. And the drivers tell us that can take up to 3 days. There's several hundreds of trucks waiting for that process before they can offload their cargo to aid trucks to distribute them across the enclave. So the process between this section of the Rafah crossing in Egypt into the crossing into Gaza can be a while. We see ambulances coming in. Egyptian officials tell us several hundred injured, almost 400, have come in here since late October to bring in the injured from Gaza to be treated at Egyptian hospitals, and some family members have been going back as well. This is part of the crucial part of the deal to release more hostages from Hamas. If aid can come in, the deal included 200 trucks that can come in every day. U.S. officials estimate that about 240 have been coming in every day, bringing food and water and medical supplies, emergency relief items, as well as shelter as the rainy season comes in Gaza, which often leads to some flooding, some displacement as well. But this has been the crucial corridor for aid into Gaza, and there has to be a way to make that happen. Even if the truce is not extended, this has got to be a way to make sure there's more aid coming into Gaza. Egyptian officials tell CNN that this crossing has been open 24/7 since October 7. But obviously, that is only technically, because aid cannot just go through here into Gaza. It's got to go through an Israeli checkpoint, and that slows things down considerably. Larry Medowo, CNN at the Rafah crossing in Egypt.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. You can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. The federal government aims to get rid of old lead pipes. And also ahead in tonight's Medical Minute, we take a closer look at pregnancy and getting the flu shot this year. proposing a rule that would require water systems to replace millions of lead pipes within 10 years. That includes all lines, regardless of lead levels in tap or other drinking water samples. This change ramps up the Biden administration's efforts to remove 100% of lead pipes across the USA. That's a massive task, estimated to cost $45 billion. Lead exposure is linked to health and developmental problems, especially for children. It's not too late to get your annual flu shot. It is vital to protect yourself from severe disease, especially if you're pregnant.
You are more likely to get severely ill from the flu and end up in the hospital when you are pregnant. Fever is one of the most common symptoms, and it has been linked to some adverse outcomes for a developing baby. But previous studies have shown that the flu vaccine can typically reduce the risk of flu in pregnant women by up to half and decrease hospitalization risks by an average of 40%. And there are benefits for the child as well. Mothers can pass on antibodies to babies during pregnancy as well as while breastfeeding, an important time because infants cannot receive flu vaccinations until they are 6 months old. Most people only need one dose of the flu vaccine, typically during the fall, while those in the third trimester may consider getting vaccinated in the late summer. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more about how the flu shot can protect you and your family. With this Medical Minute, I'm Justin Finch, ABC News.
More than 1 million older Texans are struggling to cover housing costs. You can read this article by the Texas Tribune at crossroadstoday.com and follow us on X at Crossroads Today. The 6-month hurricane season officially ends tonight. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, says it does not foresee more tropical developments until spring. The tropical storm behind this damage in Virginia is Ophelia. It and Hurricane Idalia are the only two that made landfall in the U.S. this season. Overall, the season had 20 storms, including 3 major hurricanes.
And tomorrow, which is December the 1st, we'll be talking about analyzing what happened with hurricane season with Texas. And here's a funny one. More hurricanes hit the west coast of Mexico than Florida this year, so it was kind of strange. Well, right about now it's 66 degrees. We have no rain or cloud cover around the area. We did get up to 77, and that warm, humid stuff, that's when that warm front came up. And we did get almost 1/4 inch of rain out at the airport. Down at Riverside Park, got a Coco Ross report of 0.22, so pretty even 1/4 inch around the area, but there's still a chance for getting more showers tomorrow. We'll be talking about that and your weekend in just a moment. Well, good evening, everyone. We did get rain. We didn't get a lot of rain. We thought we were going to get more, but the system sort of came in at different times. The Gulf air brought us up this warm front. That's why we got up to 77 degrees. And behind it, the cooler air, which is actually here, did not arrive at the same time. And that's why we thought we were going to have much more activity around here than we did. But believe me, we dodged a bullet because Houston really got pounded tonight. We'll be talking about that. This little frontal system and this one will sort of merge and pass through here tomorrow, about middle of the day. By the afternoon and evening, we'll get a north wind, and that'll sort of dry things up at the lower levels and cut down the rain chances as we get into Saturday and Sunday. But as I was talking, here is the Victoria area. You can see it right about there, over here actually. Here's Houston. Here's the Ship Channel. Galveston got 3.5 inches of rain. All of the, well, I call it the I-45 corridor from Houston down to Galveston, they got flooding rains. The city of Winnie out near Beaumont, had 4 inches of rain with 125 cars that were disabled by the water. And now the big stuff is headed toward the Lake Charles area where they're getting severe weather rolling through there as well. So that's like more than we bargained for. So we just got the nice rain and we didn't have any severe weather to deal with here. So far they haven't had any kind of tornado problems. Now, this is the rainfall totals, and here's our scale over here. You see the dark green is up to 1/2 inch, and in the bright green is over 1/2 inch to maybe an inch. So some areas from Port Lavaca up through Wharton and all the way to Harris County got the big stuff. And you can see, you want to talk big stuff, look at this. 4 to 5, 6 inches of rain, all of it occurring this afternoon, basically southeast Texas and Louisiana. So there's our storm system. It's going away except for that lingering shower activity that will likely develop tomorrow. And then that's going to go away by the nighttime, and the low and everything pulls away, and we're going to settle down as we get to the weekend. In fact, high pressure will be building over us, giving us a fairly nice maybe 4 or 5 days of relatively quiet weather. And then we'll watch and wait to see what happens on the long term. Tonight, we're getting down to about 63. That's not very cold. And tomorrow, we'll be up to about 73, but that's before the front comes through. Now, it's not a huge cold front. It's really more of a dry line, but it will come through and will cut that shower activity down. So let's take a look at your day planner for those of you in Port Lavaca. 67, the morning low, getting up to 69, so not much of a swing in temperatures. And additional clouds and showers will hang around the area tomorrow, Friday. And then in Cuero, 57 up to 69, again, partly to mostly cloudy and a couple of showers as well. By Friday night, however, it starts to dry up and we start clearing out. And certainly by evening, we'll have a northeast wind blowing, which will be blowing northwest on Saturday and Sunday. Here we'll have a few more clouds and fewer clouds on Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, not bad. We'll watch and wait to see if this next storm system actually holds together, but that's in the 7-day time period. So that's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have the QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads on your cell phone. And now, a very important message. This is my great opportunity to introduce Mr. Gino Perez.
Thanks, Mac. I appreciate it. The Refugio Bobcats and Ganadio Indians are taking the field tonight, and this one ended in the most unexpected way possible. That's coming up after the break. At a crossroads, the Ganado Indians and Refugio Bobcats. The game is over, and here are the highlights. Ganado driving down the field, and Bryce Ullman, he says, let me just chuck up the deuce. And this one got picked off by the Refugio Bobcats, and he would get tackled in the red zone. But big play for Refugio, but they could not do anything with it on the offensive side of the ball. Meanwhile, Ganado deciding to go to the air again. This time, Ullman connects with Landon Hicks to put the Indians up 7-0 in the first. Then Keelan Brown dropping back, and he sacked. The ball comes out, scoop and score. The Bobcats are down 14-0 at the halftime, and this one would get out of, I'm just at a loss for words for this one. Ganado wins 41-12 and is heading to the state semifinals. This is only the 4th time that they have ever done it in its history, and they'll either face Garrison or Timpson in round 5. Wow, what a great day for the Ganado Indians. Meanwhile, tomorrow the Edna Cowboys are playing in Bastrop against a team that they're familiar with in the Blanco Panthers. The head coach for the Panthers has some crossroads ties. Panthers head coach Jamie Dixon was once the head coach for the Industrial Cobras a few years ago. He has led his team past one crossroads team, that's the Goliad Tigers. Now Edna is hoping to stop that run that they are doing, but continue theirs as they hope to make it back to the state semifinals for 2 years in a row after a nail-biting finish over Industrial. Edna's Tyson Owens had a huge game with an interception, a 60-yard catch and run to set up a touchdown, and then even the go-ahead touchdown to send his team to round 4. The game will be tomorrow in Bastrop. The Calhoun Sand Crabs will be taking on the San Antonio Davenport Wolves tomorrow. The Sand Crabs are hoping to get its first 10-win season since 2018. These teams are not real familiar with each other since Davenport is a new school. And the last area game is here in Victoria as well. The Tidehaven Tigers will be looking to get the proverbial monkey off their back by beating a team that has had their number in the postseason. The two will kick off tomorrow night in Victoria. Well, that's your sports, and no, this isn't a Refugio jersey. It's actually a jersey that they got me for my last day, so I'm repping number 25, and I'll be saying my goodbyes, so don't go anywhere. Don, back to you.
All right, Gino, thank you, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather, plus we say goodbye to our sports director, Gino Perez. Goodbye to our sports director, Gino Perez. Gino, tell the folks where you are headed.
Yeah, so I'm heading to Wisconsin. I'll be going to be a cheesehead for a little bit, cheese curds and all. Yeah, I'll be joining Spectrum News 1, which is different from a typical news station. I'll be joining the cable side, or the dark side, I guess they say. But it's been an awesome 4 years, but I hear y'all have a surprise for me, so I guess we should get to that first.
All right, let's go to the surprise. We have this story for you and for you.
You come to work and you don't look for friends. You just, you come to work. I found friends and I found family, and Gino, working here, he's become like a big brother to me, and I'm just excited for you, Gino, and your future, and I wish you the best.
Hey Gino, congratulations on your new endeavors. This is just going to be so fun. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so glad I got to meet you. Have fun.
Gino, congratulations, buddy. We're definitely going to miss you here, especially Zach, because now he's been running around covering all the sports all by himself. But congratulations, Gino and the Jets.
Gino, congratulations, man. I'm going to miss my neighbor, I guess, you know, right there across from me. If you ever need a, whatever that thing's called, or a screwdriver, you got one now. So good luck. You're handyman. You're the handiest man I've ever seen. Handy dandy man. All right. I love you, buddy. I'll see you later.
Hey, Gino, I just want to say I'm so bummed I don't get to be there with you in the station on your last final moments, but we are so proud of you, and I am so excited to see everything you're going to accomplish. You've become like a big brother figure to me, and so thank you for everything you've taught me and everything you left here at the station. You're going to crush it out there, so have fun.
Hey, Gino, it's been great talking sports with you the past 3+ years. You've come a long way in that time. We always would talk about different things in sports, and he would ask certain things. And I always wanted to give him the tips about this and that. And he is a very, very fast learner and a very hard worker. You are that, Gino. And you should be ready for colder weather than what you have here. Wisconsin gets that way. But once again, congratulations on doing an outstanding job. And we will all miss you here. Best of luck in Wisconsin.
Well, that's just awesome.
Isn't that great?
That is awesome. And we got more here.
Hey, Mac wanted to say something.
Well, Gino, you know, I've known you since a few months, and some people thought I was his dad, but I'm not his dad. But I'm very proud of him because, you know, this is part of the growth in the business, and we're happy for you that you're moving on up. So best of luck.
Well, thank you. Who would have thought I'd be here 4 years, but also just I came here as a news anchor and did that for 6 months, and then COVID happened and kind of threw a wrench into everything, and then I became the sports director, and I've learned under Don and made some great friends along the way, including y'all at home. It's been one heck of a ride, and I'm trying not to lose it because Victoria has found a spot in my heart, and it's been awesome, and I'm going to miss y'all so much. And
we're going to miss you too.
Nights like last night are amazing. And, you know, I'm glad to spend it with y'all. So thank y'all so much for the video. Thank y'all for everything. And I appreciate y'all too, Victoria. Y'all are going to be forever in my heart. And continue watching my career grow. I mean, Green Bay is going to be cold, but hopefully with y'all there, it'll keep me a little warmer.
We'll look for you on the sidelines.
Right, yeah.
But like Darius said, you go to work and you meet your family. Yeah. People we work with for so close and so many hours we're blocked up in this room together that it's inevitable. Right now,
Gino, congratulations on a great job, and we'll miss you. And best of luck in Cheesehead.
Send us some.
Thanks for joining us for 25 News Now at 10, 25 News Now Sunrise at 5. Good night.